Hey everyone, GameHounds podcast. We are back. Welcome to the day, to Sunday, and welcome to the first day of our audio show actually being back. So that was a bit of an odyssey.
Hi, audio people.
They're not on yet. I have to still
Oh,
do the
okay.
audio.
Well,
I
never
have set
mind.
up the audio show. But we're going to be back on the audio show, and there may be some weirdness on iTunes because of that, but we'll work it out. I have to still do some finagling. Bottom line, the story on the audio show was actually let me start the show so I can actually get that going. How are you, Nick? How's things?
Good. Things are very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, we're still setting up the show a little bit. Let's see. Come on.
I've entered into a rabbit hole of rearranging stuff. I
Uh-huh.
want to get an end table for the couch cuz I want something that I can like put a drink on when I'm on the couch. Like by the armrest. But now I've entered into this rabbit hole because I've got kind of a short shelving unit next to that area, but I can't put anything on it. So now, do I want to get rid of that shelving unit and just get like a big end table, or do I want to get a tiny end table that's just for putting like drinks on? It's like I could go small and get something, or I could go big and kind of rearrange some stuff, maybe rearrange the cat area a little bit. And so I've entered into a rabbit hole of like, well, if I move this here, I can move that there, and then I can free up space to put this here, and then I can do that and that. It's like, oh shit, the possibilities are endless.
You're nesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I we got lots of stuff to talk about. Do we have anybody in the chat room yet? Nobody in the chat room. That's concerning. Where's all our kids? Where's the chillins? Where's the bairn?
They watched all of the streams that we did this week, and they're like, I got my
They're like,
GameHounds.
I'm done.
I got my
Hey, we
GameHounds
got Blood
fix. I'm out.
Reaper. Yay. All
Ah,
right.
hey.
Hey, Blood Reaper, did you watch any of the streams on Twitch? I'm not gonna lie, they're long, but they're fucking funny, especially the first one. Oh, Nick gets savaged.
Was
Savaged.
how much of the first one did you get?
We got all 5 hours, 6 hours of it.
Oh, really? For
Yeah.
the first night playing
Yeah, both
Extraction?
nights. Both
Oh,
nights we
okay.
have all the entire thing.
Oh,
Actually, I
cool.
take that not the entire thing on the first night because I hadn't started streaming, but from the point I said that we're starting to stream, that's when. Because I
Okay.
think Chris was talking about something at work, and I'm like, "Hey, we're streaming." It's like, "Oh," because I had
Okay.
just started the stream. But we didn't stream last night, although Chris and I played.
Mhm.
Yeah, I spent most of the night just trying to save my character.
Did
And then
you
getting
try
everybody back, and then trying to save my character again.
did you try to save them and then lose the second character and then try to
Yes,
save them?
multiple times.
Oh, no.
Yes, we did that. And yeah, fun fact, you gotta go back twice. When you lose 2 characters,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
pick up one, and then you have to go back in and pick up the other. What game are we talking about? We will tell you in a bit. So yeah, Edie Sellers here, Nick DiNicola, getting ready to start the show. It's been a while. I mean, it's been a month since we've done a audio
Audio
show.
show?
So
Yeah.
it's a little weird doing that again. Blood Reaper says, no, I had to work. I can't get it to work where I work. Also, I just worked up
Just
to
probably just woke up to watch this?
woke
Well,
up to
thank
watch
you.
this. Okay. Hey, thank you for doing that.
Mhm.
No AC race this morning.
Mm.
Afternoon, I guess, technically evening for East Coasters. That is a little strange. So I went into the office. I told you about that. I went in the office this week for the first time since
Mhm.
I've been hired 2 years ago.
What was it like?
It's a lot of food. It's like I showed up, I got my computer to work, and then I get a phone call from my boss, and she's like, "I'm downstairs in front. Come with me." So then we went to brunch.
Hmm.
So I had brunch, and then we wandered around and got mochi muffins and bread and a bunch of other stuff that we brought back to the office. Now I sat down and did a little bit of work. And then as I'm trying to get work done, they're like, come into the lunchroom. We've got lunch for you. It's like, I just ate chicken and waffles. And I didn't even eat all of it. And so, yeah, there was a lot. And then, as soon as I go and I sit with other people while they're eating their leftover pizza, which they brought enough for everybody in the office, which is all of 4 people. And we're talking about an entire floor of an office building. Then they keep on reminding me, oh, there's 4. We have a floor, so we have 4 different snack nooks. And they're like, if you're hungry at all, there's snacks in the snack, and all the different snack nooks have different snacks. And it's like, I am not hungry. And the amount of calories on this floor is stupefying at this moment. And then, of course, right after lunch, then out come the mochi muffins that we bought.
Wow, geez.
My crazy. Hey, AC Wraith is finally here. Woohoo! He says my speakers broke, so I couldn't listen for when the show started from the kitchen. Oh, that sucks. What kind of speakers were they? Are they Bluetooth speakers that just kind of pooped out? I think we may be able to find, considering that you work for us, I think we may be able to find some spare funds to replace your speakers, if that's what you need. All right, so let's start this audio show. You ready to go?
Nope, I am completely distracted.
Okay.
Apparently,
be distracted. It's fine.
Apparently, a Halo trailer came out.
Why? The Halo's already out.
No, for the Paramount Plus TV show.
Oh, hey, AC Wraith! Happy birthday, AC Wraith! I didn't know that was your birthday. Happy birthday, dude! Yes, absolutely. I will personally buy you some PC speakers for your birthday, or whatever else. Let's see. AC Wraith, do you have access? No, you don't. I need to get a hold of your personal phone number so that I can text you on a regular basis. But I don't know how to do it. He's a groundhog. Oh, what was it, Pixatawny Phil? You're a little Pixatawny Phil.
Gopher?
Yeah, no, groundhog.
Oh, groundhog.
I guess I can send it to you in Discord. Send me in Discord your cell phone number so I can text you on a regular basis, because it would be a good thing to have your text information. And on top of that, I would like to send you a birthday present because you are important. Like Blood Reaper, you are important. He says 2.0, please. No surround sound stuff to mess with. No room in my setup anyway. Okay. So let's start the show, because we got a lot to talk about, and Chris is waiting for us to get off this show. All right, going live. Shoot, you know what? It's been so long. Let me check to make sure that our audio is good. Nick, say something.
Test.
Hello? Of course it's good.
Okay.
Of course it's good. Fuck. Now I have to upload that freaking thing again. You back out. Everything stays except the picture, the avatar on the show. So, all right, going live.
Games, modern culture, and technology. And these podcasters are big fat potty mouths. If you're younger than 18 or are easily offended, please stop this podcast now. Oh, and your mom says to take out the trash and do your homework.
All right, mics are hot. Hello and welcome to GameHounds. GameHounds episode, what is it? Episode, gosh darn it, 626. We are recording on Sunday, January 30th, 2022. I'm Edie Sellers. With me is Nick DiNicola. How you doing?
Good. I'm just watching the trailer for the Halo series that I just discovered. Has I opened a tab looking for news, I saw like, look, here's a new trailer for the Halo series. And
Nice.
It's interesting because it's not the first game. Oh, it is, but it's very different.
Yeah.
Like it's not an adaptation of the video game. It's more like, hey, let's use that as a starting point, and let's just take the basic premise and then make our own thing out of it. Which I'm all for that instead of a straight up adaptation.
Mm-hmm. So I got Chris Salazar in the chat. We got AC Wraith, of course. We got Blood Reaper, of course. We've got Chris Salazar, aka Fight and Race 100, who says, "I'm watching, but don't let Nick abandon you like he did to me in Extraction." Actually, as I recall, Chris, we will talk about Extraction in a little bit. We do have a review of that. But yeah, as I recall, the abandonment thing was both ways on that. Wasn't it you that closed the door on Chris when he was being pursued?
No, he closed the door on me.
You. That's right. Okay. Yeah. So Nick abandoned you,
and then,
but
I had the chance to save both of you, and I would have, but then I accidentally extracted me and Chris. But I had you, Chris, on my shoulder instead of Edie, so I extracted you more often than I have her.
We will talk about the shenanigans that went on in Rainbow Six Extraction in a bit. And thank you for the link to the Halo series, AC Wraith, who is our amazing link person. So if you are listening to this show on audio, whether it be live or later on iTunes, you will have noticed there have been no shows for the last month. There have been, we couldn't get them on audio. So here's kind of the long and the short of this. We have been using for the last 8 years, I think 9 years, a service called Spreaker. Spreaker is a audio recording company. And because we were among one of the first shows to actually start on there. And I would venture to guess we are definitely one of the oldest ones that are continuing to go, because podcasts don't stick around. If you get a year out of a podcast, that's really long. We've been doing this for 9 years, every single week, plus all of our PAX shows on Spreaker. It's been great. Because we were one of the earliest ones, there was probably within the first 6 or 8 months of using it, there was this special deal that they were trying to get. Spreaker, which was a company, was trying to get a partnership with iHeartRadio. And they were trying to get people to migrate to iHeartRadio. So if you signed up for distributing your show to iHeartRadio, you were automatically upgraded for free to their unlimited account. So we did. Well, iHeartRadio has subsequently purchased Spreaker. And we were grandfathered in with this unlimited show. We could put as many hours as we wanted to. And Spreaker does not have a system for archiving old shows, which means that however many hours you're storing on Spreaker's servers, that's how many hours you're being charged for. We didn't have to worry about that. We were on an unlimited, so we could store all of our shows on Spreaker. The beginning of the year, iHeartRadio, the new overlords, said, we're not going to do that anymore. It couldn't have been more than 3 or 4 shows that had that, because after 9 years, chances are most of those shows don't even exist anymore. We might have been one of 4 people on all of it from iHeartRadio that had unlimited because of this special deal that happened within the first year of Spreaker's existence. Well, they canceled us. And in order for me to have stayed on Spreaker, that's why I couldn't record, because all of a sudden I go in one day and I'm on a now free account, which only allows for 5 hours of storage, but I have 800 hours of storage. So they're like, you are at 0%. You have 800 hours of 5 hours left on your account. I'm like, what the fuck? That happened without me noticing. So I went and looked to see how much it would cost me to continue to host on Spreaker. And it would have cost me upwards of about $5,000 a year.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, yeah, we had to find another alternative. Now, I have maintained our server at Libsyn for the last 12 years, the entire time that we have been around, which is what now going on 13 years, since 2008. And I've been maintaining it at a $5 a month fee just to keep the old episodes up and running. So I went to Libsyn and I'm like, I have 800 hours of shows that I need to migrate. They have an archive system, which means that if you archive it, it doesn't get deducted on your 5-hour charge, your 5-hour a month charge. So you can, have 800 hours in archive, but as long as your active shows, which is 1 month, is no more than 5 hours, which we will hit that. I have to upgrade our Libsyn account. Then they will host that show. So I went to them and said, I have 800 hours worth of shows that I need to migrate over to you. Will those be automatically archived, or will those count against my active hourly charges? And they're like, oh no, they're automatically archived. I'm like, move them. They're like, we
Nice.
will happily do it for you. What's the RSS feed? And they
Oh,
moved it all over. They did all the work, even though I downloaded all 800 hours of my shows. They manually migrated them. I mean, they did it for me. They migrated it over. And now I am going to do a new show on Spreaker. So we still have the live audio show, but at the end of the show, I will move that show over to Libsyn and then delete it off of Spreaker, because I'm not going to do a live show. I mean, I'm not going to store anything at Spreaker. Spreaker can fuck themselves. It'd be one thing if there were a ton of shows that might be still around, but there can't be more than a handful of them. Spreaker is very, very popular right now for obvious reasons. It's a really good service. And it's owned by iFucking Radio. We are not costing them anything. We are not costing them at anything at all. They don't need to free up our space. It's not that much. And I think if you put us all together, all the shows that are still existing, still active, still producing after 9 years, it's probably maybe a couple of gigs worth of space.
Yeah, because the audio files.
They're audio files.
Like that you can have 800 hours of audio files, and that's not that big of a space, especially considering how many people are like
it's 15 gigs.
storing 4K
800
video.
shows for 15 gigs. I know that because I've got it.
That's a 4K movie.
Yeah, it's nothing. It's literally nothing. I don't know why they decided that it was an appropriate thing to do. The economics of it makes no sense whatsoever.
There's some business person just looking at numbers going, hey, we can save a few bucks.
Somebody's getting something for free. Fuck them.
Exactly.
That's what it was.
Yeah, exactly.
Meanwhile, they are not taking into account, I have promoted Spreaker to thousands of people. I have had other shows. I have purchased other shows. I have an other show purchased right now on Spreaker. I've had multiple shows that I've actually bought and are paying for. So They were making money off of me, and they're about to make no money off of me now. And I am bashing them on our show. So yeah, it was just a foolish. It was a bean counter. It was a bean counter coming and going. Somebody's getting something for free, not figuring that word of mouth was happening. And I know. I mean, I can count right now at least 10 shows that are on Spreaker that are paying for it and have been.
Oh, for that 5,000 a year.
No, for that, because I have told everyone what a great service Spreaker is.
Oh.
I know of 10 shows that are not including my own show that I did, the daily show that I did,
Mm-hmm.
not including that show that I have spent hundreds of dollars on because I didn't host it on GameHounds. Thank God I didn't host it on GameHounds. I thought about it, but I actually hosted it, and I'm about to hand it over to someone else to essentially give it to someone else in the neighborhood who is probably going to upgrade the service
On Spreaker?
on Spreaker when he
Mm.
turns it into a variety music show for his art gallery. It was absolutely foolish on their part. Absolutely foolish. Because I'm going to migrate it off of Spreaker and I'm going to show them how to do a show not on Spreaker. And I'm going to recommend Libsyn. You know why? Because Libsyn has been quietly sitting there being the good wife, has been at home. Don't worry about it. I've got your back, honey. I'm just going to stay here, take care of the kids, take care of the kitchen, keep the house clean. You do what you need to do with your side
We
piece.
went and had an affair with Spreaker for 9 years.
Right.
And
And I've been telling everybody about my new wife and how great she is. And then when I come back and say, yeah, the new wife screwed me over, they're coming back and going, that's okay. We've got your back. Move right in. Yep. So I'm going, I'm now back to Libsyn. Good company. Good company. EC Ray says, I have room for many times that storage, just uninstalling Mass Effect Legacy. Exactly. It was not costing them
15 gigs is a small game.
anything. And if you do consider after 9 years, there couldn't have been more than maybe 10 or 15 shows tops that was still doing new shows and adding to that. So anyway, that is why you are getting me back on Spreaker, is that now that my Libsyn has been able to migrate, I just before the show deleted every single episode in the past off of Spreaker, which was scary as fuck to make your entire catalog. I mean, all the way back to show 1, because I moved things over, so we had a unified. But delete, it is a terrifying thing to delete every single show. Every single show on the podcast. Just page after page after page after page, and having to go, are you sure? Yes. Are you sure?
Oh,
yes.
God.
And it's like, am I sure? Am I sure?
You have to do that 800 times?
Well, no, I could do it 50 in a batch. So I had to do it a lot of
Okay.
times. I had to do it 16 times. But yeah, just before the show, I was able to delete every single show off of Spreaker so I could free up my 5 hours so that I could do this show on Spreaker. So the audio show will come to Spreaker, and then they will be migrated over to Libsyn. So if you are still on our old feed under the GameHounds on iTunes, you will see all of a sudden every show we've ever done on Spreaker now appears on the old iTunes feed. And this one, you will see this show show up for about 1 week, and then it will disappear and be replaced. So I would recommend you double check and make sure you're wait. Oh my God.
What?
Spreaker just cut me off
Oh.
because they have a 15-minute recording limit.
Oh.
God damn this service. God damn this service. All right. I guess I got to fix that. So, how was your week?
Much better.
Yeah.
Way less stressful than that. I guess I could talk about some good TV while you deal with that.
Go ahead.
Okay. I recommended it to you before the show, but I would recommend anybody watch the Peacemaker show on HBO Max.
Yeah.
It is a weird show from James Gunn, who is known to make weird shows. It's a dark comedy superhero show. Technically, it's a sequel to James Gunn's The Suicide Squad movie that came out last year. And I would recommend you watch that movie too, just because it's a good, fun movie. And it's also on HBO Max, so it's not like you have to go anywhere outside of that one app to see it. But the Peacemaker show is just fantastic. Peacemaker himself is an asshole character, and it feels like a weird idea to make a show around him, but it works really, really well because he's an asshole antihero put in with a kind of bumbling Black Ops team, and the show goes to great lengths to humanize each member of the team, and it also goes to great lengths to humanize Peacemaker and to like really dig into why is he an asshole, what goes into his personality, why is he the way he is, and it does a good job like exploring his character of like scratching underneath the vulgar humor and the gleeful violence to get into like the real deep emotional beating heart of who the character is. It's just a fantastic show with, I will say, an even better soundtrack. I've spent hours listening to the soundtrack while working, and every time I do, it just makes me more excited to watch the show whenever it comes out each week.
Sorry, I am having to subscribe to an $8 account for 1 month. Starting tomorrow, there will be no live audio show. I mean, sorry, yeah,
Oh.
starting next week, there will be no live audio show because I won't pay them $8 a month. We will be moving over to
It'll just be live video.
it'll be live video, and then it will appear on iTunes as an audio show.
Mhm.
That's for you, Spreaker.
That sucks.
3 hours of live broadcasting. So I guess we're not going to have a whole show.
We stay under 3 hours most of the time.
No, we don't.
Yeah, we do. Right now, we've only been live for about 30 minutes. Besides, like you said, we need to get back. We need to finish the show so that we can get back to Rainbow Six Extraction with Chris, with Fighter Ace. So we got it. We got to get in and get out. We don't have time for a 3-hour show today. We got games to play. But while you're taking care of that, I've also been watching the Boba Fett show on Disney Plus, and boy, that show is not very good. It's a real shocker considering that The Mandalorian, their other Star Wars show, was really good.
Mm-hmm.
The Boba Fett show just kind of sucks. It's slow. It's kind of boring. Every time it threatens by the way, the thing that popped up is for Peacemaker, which is great. I'm talking about the Boba Fett show.
Right, I know.
Yeah. Every time the Boba Fett show threatens to get interesting, it then resolves that conflict almost immediately with no effort involved by the main character. It just resolves itself. And it's like, well, shit. Why do I care? The best episode of the show was the episode that just came out last week. and that's because Boba Fett wasn't in it at all. It was
Interesting.
an hour-long show starring the character from The Mandalorian. The best episode of the Boba Fett show
It's the one without Boba Fett.
is an hour where we don't involve him at all. We don't even, none of the characters that we've seen are here. Like, this episode was a completely different show, and it was all the better for it.
All right, we're gonna start the audio show again.
Okay, so yeah, don't recommend Boba Fett. It's not worth it.
All right, so we are back. Sorry about that. No, Spreaker did not cut me off. Spreaker apparently has on their free account a 15-minute limit. So we will be, as of next week, completely not having a live audio show. And then we will make it just going to as a podcast to iTunes. So if you are watching, if you are listening as a live audio show, you will have to go over to YouTube, iTunes, or Facebook. I'm sorry about that. It's just the way it goes. Because I'm not giving Spreaker any more money at all. It is my crusade in the next week to remove any payments that I make to Spreaker from now on. I will not let them ever say that this was a good deal, that it got them that much more money. They got $8 out of me. Yeah, that's all you're ever going to get from me, ever. So, let's talk about news. Or talk about
News?
games that we've been playing. Games that
Yeah.
we've been playing. What's going on? What have you been
Well,
playing?
we had mentioned it before. We played some Rainbow Six Extraction with
Yes, we
Chris
did.
Race, former
Yes,
GameHounds.
we did.
And it's cool because he is playing on Stadia from Florida, and we're playing on Game Pass, and that game has crossplay that works
Really
perfectly
works well. Yeah, it
we
does.
we didn't encounter any issues with the crossplay, other than just like we can't invite him to an Xbox party, but you just go into the game and invite the player to your team, and it
Mhm.
works.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's a tough game to get into. I think there's a bit of a learning curve, but once you get into the pace of it, at first we were told like, oh, you got to be quiet. You have to be quiet all the time. It's all about stealth, but it's not really all about stealth. Like, you can go loud and attract a bunch of aliens and still be fine. You just got to know how they move. So basically, the way the game works is you are part of a team of military specialists, and each player takes control of a group of various characters. And all of these characters have special abilities. Like, some can drop armor, some can have like a radar go out to reveal enemy locations. Some people can throw decoys, some people can throw proximity mines. Everyone's a military specialist, but you go into this alien infected environment to complete a mission. The missions you get all random.
And the missions, there's 3 levels to the mission. You can see it on the video.
Mhm.
And they randomize. There are all these games, these missions that you have, and they completely randomize first, second, third. So sometimes they're a lot super easy, sometimes they're not. And then, of course, the more the first mission is going to be easier than the third mission by a lot.
Yeah. And where the title comes from is when you complete that mission, you have a choice to extract, and all of the experience that you've earned from that mission, you will then bank it. Or you can choose to go deeper and go do mission number 2. And so there's a nice bit of a gamble where you're always rolling the dice, trying to push your luck to see how deep can we go. You complete a mission, your characters are hurt, but you think, I know the next mission is like a rescue. We're pretty good at doing rescues. Let's go try it. Let's push our luck. And so that's where the extraction comes from, is that's how you end it. That's how you bank your experience. But there's always that question of, can we do it? Should we extract or should we push our luck? And
Right.
what I
And
think makes the
it's
game
all banked down on the fact that your health, when you go into this this thing is your health. It is perpetual. Your what do they call them? The guys that you play. Your agents,
Yeah.
yeah, they only get health when they're not being used and in reserve. So when they're back, we're not using them. You have like you start out with like 6, then you get 3 more, then you get 3 more as you progress the game. When you're in this, you're doing a mission, you can get a boost of health by finding health packs, but they're not permanent. So however you hurt your character when you're doing a mission is perpetual. It stays with that character until they heal up when you're not using them. So if you have one really good character that you love to use because you like their gun, you like their skills, they just maybe you're just lucky with them. If you keep using them, they're going to eventually die. When they enter in, they will only have 5 health. You have to kind of keep mixing it out so that they can let your favorite characters rest.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of sucks in that way, in that everything you do, every time you get hit, it's not just, oh, I got hit and then I'll heal back up at some other time. No, it is your health. It's you're constantly banking on your health.
It means that character is going to be out of commission for the next couple games.
Right. And the chance of you being able to heal them up well enough to be able to go to the next mission, like right there, I just got hit. That's going to stick. I am at, let me pull off the thingy so you can see it. I am at 30, my character's at 33 health right now. That character will have to heal from 33 health while not using them.
Mm-hmm.
Fighter race is already, at 5% right now in that. And we just started this match.
And what I think is
You
cool
will have to
about,
heal from 5% by not using that character.
and what I like about it is you can extract at any time. So it's not like when you choose, we're going to try the second mission. You go into the second area and then you're not forced to complete that mission. If things go bad, you can just bail and extract at any time. And so that leads to really fun moments where we try to do the second mission, things go bad, and then we're like, okay, we need to fight our way. Like, my character's messed up. I know they're going to be out for a long time. Let's just fight our way to the extraction point and try to save these characters. And so that leads to a lot of fun moments where you're just trying to escape. You're just trying to survive. And that's where the game gets really fun, is when everything goes to hell.
Yep. This
And
one is what we're watching is everything going to hell.
oh yeah. And yeah, you're just trying to
And the other
extract.
extra added bit of spice on all of this, when your character is knocked out in any of these missions, that character gets covered with a biofoam, which means that the other living teammates have to extract that person by hand. They have to carry them out and put them in an extraction pod. And if they don't, then that character is left behind. And you have to go back in with another character at a later date and rescue them. You don't
Yeah.
get any of the XP that person may have gotten. And you don't get that XP until you recover that person. And if you go in and fail to extract that person successfully, you lose all of the XP that you earned. And if you wipe, then you will lose XP overall. Your own profile loses XP,
Yeah.
and you don't get that XP back until you get that person. Here we go. Like,
But
you
I
can see,
do
I'm
but I do
carrying.
think
I don't know who I'm carrying. I'm carrying. I think.
me? I think you're carrying
I
me.
think you're carrying you. Yeah.
But I do think that's the important point. Is that no matter how much you
No,
lose,
I'm being carried. I'm being carried. Somebody's carrying me.
oh, I'm probably carrying you.
Yeah. Yeah.
No matter how much experience you lose because like your character dies and they get left behind and they need to be rescued, when you rescue that character, you get all of that back.
Right.
So it's not when Chris was describing the game first time, it sounded like the game could very easily punish you in a way that you just can't come back from. Where, oh, a character gets stuck and then another character gets stuck and another character gets stuck. And it's like, well, you're screwed. You just can't play anymore. But it's not like that. It really it's more friendly than that. It puts on airs of being like this super punishing, dangerous game. But what is nice is when you get a person back, when you rescue them, everything that you lost with them, you get back. And so,
unless you fail, unless you try and fail to get them back.
but no, because if you try and fail, that just means another character goes MIA, and you have
No,
to
no, no,
rescue
no, no,
them.
no, 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 no. When you have to go back in after they've been left behind, they are stuck in a tree,
Yeah,
and you
they're
have to
MIA.
pull on that tree
Yes.
to get their body out and then take them to extract. If you pull on that tree and you fail to get them out, which can happen, you lose the XP. You'll get the character back without extracting them, but you lose all the
Oh,
XP.
really? If you
Oh yeah,
fail that little
found that
mini
out
game.
last night. Lost
Okay.
30% of my XP.
Oh,
Yeah, lost 30% of the XP because
okay.
I failed.
That definitely adds a level to it. You don't want to mess up the mini game of rescuing a character.
Yeah, you do not want to. And in fact, Chris, it was just Chris and me playing last night, so it was just 2-man. You need to have multiple people to actually pull someone from a tree to rescue them, and because they essentially their bodies get embedded in a tree, and you have to pull, and one person pulls, and a bunch of other shoot pods so that it allows it to be pulled out, and one person can't do it. And Chris tried last night, and I had a lot of XP on that character. And of course, I lost it all by him trying, because I had mine when I went back into together. I went down, and then Chris extracted my character, but the character was still sitting in the tree was still there, and he's like, I'm gonna try and see if I can do it as a 1-man, and he couldn't. So he got out, but unfortunately failed the extraction, which means I lost all the XP. It sucks. It was a lot of XP on that character too.
That's
it was like 11,000 XP on that one. So that was a lot of XP we lost because I've been doing so well when I got killed or got knocked out. So anyway, it's a you have to be super okay with it being hard. And we were playing on the easiest level, which they call moderate.
It's a good group game. I played a little bit by myself one night just to try to complete some objectives and get some experience, but it's not as fun. It definitely becomes more of a stealth game when you're playing by yourself, because if things go wrong, you don't have anyone to watch your back. It's definitely more fun with a group, with 3 people. It feels designed a lot of ways to you get the most out of it when you're playing with other people.
Right.
Like, you can do it solo, but that chaos is not there. And I think that chaos is what makes it. When
Chris and I played, there was very little chaos, and we actually did really well. We did
until you
well.
lost 30% of your experience.
Right, on that last one, but there were a number of rounds where we completed all 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah. In fact, I got an achievement because we both played male characters, and there's an achievement for that's like boys' night or something like one for the boys, because it was all male characters that completed all 3 levels of the extraction. So yeah, and you get a shit ton of XP by completing all 3.
Yeah. But I appreciate the gambling aspect of it. The chaos aspect of it. Like, it's a good group game.
Right. Okay, and pro tip, if you are playing this game that Chris and I figured out last night, there you can encounter these yellow spores that get all over you, and if you don't get the spores off of you, they not only explode on you and just crater your health, they also crater all the health of everyone around you. And you have to, quote unquote, shoot them off. We were shooting them off of each other last night, but last night we figured out you don't shoot them. you melee them and they go away very quickly.
Really?
Yeah, just melee the other person for the spores. It's makes all the difference in the world.
Hmm.
So
But,
so yeah.
Raging Diesel, this is a video of us playing the other night,
Yeah.
not us right now.
Yeah.
That we will probably be playing later tonight. So yeah, Extraction, it's cool, and especially cool that it came out on Game Pass because I don't know if I would have like bought it blindly, not knowing anything about it, but being on Game Pass, I was definitely willing to just throw caution to the wind and go
Mhm.
for it.
Yep.
It's especially fun too because it reminds me a lot of the old terrorist hunt mode in the old Rainbow Six games. And me and Chris used to play those a bunch because those were really, really fun co-op modes. And this is kind of a return to that mode. It's way more complex. There's a whole lot more systems involved, but the core of it, of a group of people going into an area trying to clear the rooms, that's the same. And so it's nice to kind of return to that old mode that Rainbow Six kind of has. Once Rainbow Six went with Siege, they kind of like everything that used to be Rainbow Six kind of got forgotten
Rainbow
about
Six
and
Siege
pushed
really
away.
wasn't a Rainbow Six game. It was everything but. It
I
did
mean,
not feel
it's
like Rainbow Six.
I've heard people describe it as a GI Joe game
Yeah.
because all the characters have different abilities. And it's a
This
neat
does
game.
too, but this actually feels like a Rainbow Six.
Yeah, I mean that game it's multiplayer.
Mhm.
And if you're not good working with a group, then it's just not your game. And so it's been nice to return to a smaller, much more intimate like Rainbow Six mode rather than trying to play with strangers. I would not try to play this with strangers. I think this is a great
Yeah,
game to
I did.
play
I
with
tried it once
friends.
and quit out. I quit midstream, and I ended up dying. So I was the first thing that Chris and I had to go do is rescue somebody that I'd lost in multiplayer.
Mm. Yeah, this is not a random game. It's something you want to do with friends, with people in the chat,
Yep.
that type of thing.
Yep. But it's fun. Not gonna lie. I finding myself dreaming about it. That's usually a sign of a
Really?
really good game for me. Yeah, I was dreaming missions last night.
Wow.
Yeah. I dream games a lot.
Okay.
If it's a game really, really good and I played it and want to go back, that's when I usually have very significant dreams about completing missions. And yeah, last night, slept great. First time in a couple of days, slept really good and slept 9 hours and dreaming the whole time of this. So that's a good sign.
Cool.
Yep. So yeah, that was Rainbow Six Extraction. Can't recommend it enough. At least at this point. I mean, it's not the perfect game, but it's damn fine. Damn fine.
Yeah.
So the next game that we played together, and we played this last week.
Yeah, last Sunday.
Last Sunday after the show was Dark Pictures Anthology Little Hope, which is the third episode of
Second.
Dark. Oh, right. No, because I thought it was the third.
No, it was Man of Medan, Little Hope, and then House of Ashes.
Okay. So yeah, we played House of Ashes and we playing now Little Hope. And it feels very different
Yeah?
than the House of Ashes. It's similar in important ways, obviously, but
Yeah,
it's
it's still a
also
choose your own adventure horror game.
yes.
You're taking control of characters, making dialogue choices about which path should you take, who should team up with who, making dialogue choices about character relationships. Do you want to be a dick to someone? Do you want to be friendly? And then when monsters show up, there are various mini games involved in trying to keep the characters alive.
Right. But it's pretty good. Of course, Nick is playing a real dick.
No,
He's wanted to start drama between a couple of the characters that you're playing and
no,
has
the drama
successfully done so.
exists. The drama exists. I've just exacerbated it.
Yes, exactly. You made things worse.
Mhm. I mean,
Um,
what's
and
the
that's having an effect in how the story is playing out.
oh yeah. The curse of role playing in these types of games is that this game casts you as different characters at different times. So in the beginning, I was cast as this young girl, this college girl. I forget her name. Um, but she clearly has some beef with the older woman of the group, and so I exacerbated that beef. And at a certain point, I knew these two characters don't like each other. They will never risk their lives for the other. If
Mhm.
if one of them has a chance to save the other, they won't take it. So I'm playing as the young lady, thinking, okay, if something happens,
Tanya.
is it Tanya?
Yeah, it starts with a T.
Okay, if something happens to the older woman while I'm playing as Tanya, I'm not going to save her. But because I'm role playing like that, I take control. The game puts me in control of Angela, the older woman, and then has a monster attacker. And so I'm thinking as a player, I could let her die now, but I'm playing as Angela. She wouldn't kill herself. I should try to keep her alive. God damn the role playing.
Yeah, and the mystery. You're essentially trying to figure out a mystery together.
Yes, in this game, basically there's a there's an intro where a house burns down and like the family dies, and then we get to the main story, which involves a bus crash.
And
And there's
the
like
house burns down is in the 70s, and this is in
yeah,
the bus crash is in current day.
um, and
And
so
all of the
there are like
people on the
five
bus
survivors.
look exactly like the people that were in the house that all died in the 70s. They all have the same faces, and their names are different, but they all start with the same letter.
Yes,
Dennis versus Daniel.
and then the bus crash survivors are encountering the flashbacks to like Salem witch trial esque drama, would that involve people who again look like them. So it's like, are they in purgatory? Are they like
And they're
reincarnated?
trapped in the town. There's a fog that's forcing them into the
Yeah.
town.
So there's clearly some generational stuff going on.
Taylor's her name, not Tanya. Taylor.
Oh yeah, Taylor.
Tanya was the girl in the 70s. Taylor is the girl in modern day.
Okay.
It it's essentially trapped in a haunted town and trying to survive.
Yeah. Why are we trapped here? And it's yeah. I still think it's really fun.
Yeah.
It's a different type of story too, in that, and you mentioned this. There's a lot more jump scares
Oh
because
gosh, yes. Oh
there's
yeah,
a
a lot of screaming on this stream on Twitch of us
there's a
playing.
lot
A lot of
of like
screaming.
a character reaching a hand forward and then a ghost grabs it. There wasn't a whole lot of that in House of Ashes.
Mhm. Right. Um so yeah, it is a good if Rainbow Six Extraction is a good game to play with other people for, an hour or two. I mean, you could easily go for 6 hours like we did.
Yeah.
Little Hope is definitely something that is you settle down for the evening and you play for a good long time because it is
Yeah.
slow. It's a lot of cutscenes and it's not gameplay. It's decision making to change the dynamics or change the progression so that hopefully everyone survives. But
Mhm.
there's no guarantee that everyone's going to survive.
And it's the games aren't that long. They're like 5-6 hours. So it's like binging a series over a night. But I find that these are a great type of game to play with like people that don't play a lot of games, because they're not super difficult gameplay wise. And even if you mess up the gameplay, that's kind of part of the joy. Is like,
Mhm.
oh no, you missed a quick time event and someone died. That's the genre. That's the point. And it encourages people to like make decisions. There's a fun debate. It These are really great games to play with a group of people, passing the controller so that each player is like controlling a different character. They're great game night party games.
Yep, definitely, and a good game for even teams of people to play. Like 2 people are playing one person, 2 people are
Yeah,
playing the other
yeah.
person, and you're not playing the same person every single time all the way through. You're switching people to people to people as different scenes, as 2 people get split up, and there's maybe 2 people that are playing together of that group. Sometimes you're split up into different groups. So Nick is in one scene doing something, I'm in another scene doing something, and then we come together, and whatever Nick was doing affects me, and whatever I was doing affects Nick, because now that we're in a group, something has developed, either in the progression of the story or in the dynamic between the characters.
Yeah. And what's cool is I don't think that was in these games in the beginning. I think when the first one came out, Man of Medan, it was such that, you know, if I was playing through a scene, you just had to watch me, and then you would play through a scene and I would just watch you.
Mm-hmm.
But since then, they've come out with this capability so that when I'm playing through a gameplay section, the other player can take control of a different character and play through their own gameplay section. And they've included these they've released this feature. It has something called the curator pack. So
Mm-hmm.
House of Ashes, I think, had this from the beginning, but Man of Medan and Little Hope have these curator packs that are basically DLCs that give co-op players this kind of expanded ability.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely a fun, like it's it's good to play at night. Or if you're
Yeah.
used if you're
Yeah.
not if you don't like jump scares, play it during the day.
I would put them in the category of fun horror.
Yeah, fun. It is definitely fun horror,
Yeah.
but yeah.
There's some horror that's meant to bum you out. There's some horror that's meant to scare you. This is the kind that's meant to like make you laugh.
Yep.
Scream and laugh.
Yep. Yeah, there was a jump scare right there that got me. I think I screamed. So, yeah, another big thumbs up for Dark Pit. I think I enjoyed House of Ashes more than I enjoyed Little Hope so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think House of Ashes felt more tight and tense, and I think it probably had to do with the fact that I understood what was happening to these characters in House of Ashes. In Little Hope, you have no idea what's going on, and you have to figure it out yourself. So
yeah, it's
you're
more
you as a
mysterious
player are
than
just
that.
as confused as the actual characters are. So I don't know if I like that. Well, actually, I ended up liking the first one that we played, House of Ashes, much better so far. So yeah, big thumbs up on that. So you played another game too as well.
Yes.
2 other games.
I played more Far Cry 6,
Mhm.
and that game continues to be it continues to walk that weird line of wanting to be like this serious dramatic story about these guerrilla fighters fighting against a tyrannical, authoritarian, brutal regime, and then I'm dealing with this badass fucking rooster who's gonna run along with me and attack people and blow up cars. It's like, oh my god, Far Cry, like choose a tone and stick with it. But when you're in the game and you're playing, it's all goofy, and it should just stick with that because it is a fun, goofy game, and it continues to be fun goofiness of meeting other gorillas who are just like, yeah, man, we're guerrilla fighters. It's cool, like it's the life. It has this weird sense of like these guerrilla fighters are kind of treating it like this hipster. You have hipster gorillas beefing with old school gorillas, and it's like I appreciate the wackiness of that, of like the generational conflict between guerrilla fighters, and like, you're not a true guerrilla fighter, you're just a newbie guerrilla fighter, you're not an old school one. Oh, you've lost touch. You're an old gorilla. You're living on a mountaintop. You're not down fighting with us in the cities, man. You're out of touch. It's goofy and dumb, and I appreciate it for that because it 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 captures the goofy dumbness really, really well.
Mhm.
When it tries to be dramatic and serious, I think that's when you get into kind of the icky territory of like, wow, you're trying to be serious about like this authoritarian regime. Well, at the
Meanwhile,
same
you've got
time,
a wiener dog on a wheelchair, you know?
yeah, and like if you try to take that seriously, you just get into like icky feelings of like this isn't really respectful.
Mhm.
But if you can just get past that and appreciate like the gameplay for its absurdity, it does that really well. And I've continued to be surprised at how challenging it is. The way that it deals with ammo that I mentioned last week, where you have like ammo that's effective against people and ammo that's effective against armor. And some people have armor, so you need that for them. Some people don't have armor, and so you need to use the soft target bullets
Anti-personnel,
on
yeah.
them. And like that matters. Like that really, really matters. And so having to kind of constantly switch up what gun I'm using lends it a really nice, constantly dynamic shifting chaos where I'm always switching between weapons. I'm always thinking, oh, what can I upgrade on this weapon? What new weapon can I get? And it does that really well. And it also helps that just the act of playing the game, the act of walking around, shooting, climbing, all of that feels really smooth and good. And it's the kind of game that I'll put a podcast on and just kind of I'll go collect stuff. I'm just going to go collect collectibles for 3 hours while listening to a podcast and have a good time doing it.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Good deal.
That's Far Cry 6.
That's Far Cry 6. So, and then you had one other game that you played.
Yes, I've played shortly a iOS game called Cage. And this is actually really, really similar to a puzzle game I played a couple weeks ago called Gorogoa. Cage is like a 3D version of Gorogoa in that you have a cube in the middle of the screen, and each side of the cube is a window into a different 3D environment. And you can zoom in on different aspects of that 3D environment, and you want to get various shapes to line up. So, oh shit, I haven't solved that puzzle. Oh, that's good.
Sorry.
So like, no, that helps. So like at a certain point, you'll see a wheel. Like you're looking down up top and you see like a bicycle wheel. Well, if you change the screen and you move it down and shift it, you can line that bicycle wheel up with a gear. And now all of a sudden, you can tap on the bottom window and that gear moves. Because you've completed that gear by lining up with the bicycle wheel. And so you're constantly lining things up in one window with things in another window, zooming in, zooming out, moving around up and down. Excuse me. And it's a real mind fuck. Like Gorogoa, I look at this and think, how did you design this? Because you're creating at least 6 different 3D spaces and then creating interlocking puzzles within those 3D spaces. It's so bizarre, but when you're playing it and solving it and, spinning it around, checking it out, it's fascinating. And it's really fun to play, really fun to like get your mind to wrap around like how these abstract spaces work together. It's a really, really cool puzzle game.
Yeah, this looks, oh god, like a mind fuck from hell. You okay there?
Yes, I am.
How many sneezes?
Oh no, I was coughing.
Oh, okay.
Something in my throat.
All right. So yeah, Moncage I don't know that I could play that. I don't think I'm smart enough.
It's it's a you got to think differently, but it's really cool.
Yeah.
And AZ Wraith says he's been playing Blasphemous. That's awesome.
Yeah, rage platforming section has not been appreciated. It's tied to Bloodstained, but for some reason the mechanisms are from the Messenger. That sounds like
Okay,
a weird.
interesting. I've not played Bloodstained or The Messenger, but I thought the platforming section in Blasphemous wasn't too bad. But that's an awesome game.
All right, so shall we hit the news?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Oop, not that. Sorry, wrong one. All right. Let's hit. I can do it now. We can do our news sounder. Oh, it's been so long. Let's hit the news. Actually, I don't have to do that here. I'm out of practice of doing an audio show. All right, let's hit the news. This is the GameHounds news, the news, views, and commentary of the week in gaming with gamer Edie and Nick Nicola. And our first item is
There's more action on the Activision Blizzard Xbox shit show now. The QA testers at Raven Software, who had previously gone on strike and have then come back, have decided to unionize. And I think we talked about this last week. They started to unionize with the CWA, and they asked that Activision voluntarily recognize them.
Let me
In
guess.
response,
That did not go over well.
in response, well, and this is where it gets tricky, because this is the good anti-union tactics.
Oh my goodness. Do you want to go get a glass of water or something?
Yeah.
Go get a glass of
Give me a
water.
drink.
I'll move on because I don't have anything on that. We will
Okay.
continue with that. So we will talk about, however, let's see. Here, I'll take you off the show for a second. All right, go get yourself some water. So my item of the continuing ship shows is Epic versus Apple versus Epic. If you thought this was over, no. Oh, no. If you recall, Epic versus Apple had to do with Fortnite not being allowed on the iOS because the Epic wanted to start a fight so that they could go to court and try to get Apple to reduce the 30% cut that it takes off of games sold and anything sold in the iOS store. Well, Epic lost for the most part in its suit against Apple at the superior courts. So now immediately Epic appealed everything they lost on. Apple, of course, appealed everything, the one thing that they lost on. And the ruling was given, and then Epic appealed on January 27th. The new thing that has happened, that in this appeal, more than half of the U.S. states, 35 U.S. attorneys general, Microsoft, and Electronic Frontier Foundation all filed amicus briefs on behalf and in support of Epic. So yeah, this is very much still going on. In the opening appeal brief, Epic did argue that letting the ruling stand as it was would, quote, upend established principles of antitrust law and undermine sound antitrust policy. And Microsoft, EFF, and 35 attorneys general filed these briefs. They all sided with Epic on this, and so we'll have to see. It's obviously still coming how the appeals court will rule. This could have very significant, depending on how the appeals go. This could have very significant repercussions for anyone that has any app on the iOS system that allows for either purchasing the app or in-app purchases. So we will see how that goes. But as much as I am not a fan of Epic, it looks like that the witch hunt against Apple for what it has done is continuing, and it is not going away anytime soon. In fact, the United States, Attorney General of the United States, actually filed an amicus brief, but didn't come down on the side of either Epic or Apple. It was kind of a neutral amicus brief. But this is growing much, much bigger with the fact that we now have governments, both state and federal governments, that are weighing in on this. It is significant. It represents the significance of how this will change the entire atmosphere of mobile purchases and mobile apps. So this has
And
not gone away.
Good. I don't think it's a witch hunt.
You don't
I
think it's a witch hunt?
No, I think
I do. I don't know if it's a witch hunt.
I
I think that if Apple invents a phone and it creates an app store and it's super, super duper popular, that they shouldn't be penalized for being super popular. It's essentially declaring that the iPhone and the App Store, the iPhone App Store, are public entities. It's like, if you're so successful that you no longer have the ability to be able to control what you have because of your success, it's penalizing the success
to a
of Apple.
degree it is, but it's also a recognition that we live in a world that is so strongly governed by a few massive corporate entities that their private successes basically are public features.
If somebody does not like the way Apple is doing business, then they need to create their own phone and
But
start
you
their own
can't.
app store.
But you can't. Like,
There's a lot of companies that have.
they
Google
try.
being one of them and not done as good a job.
They try, and like, even like you said, something like Google with loads and loads of money, the phone business is not something that a startup can get into.
No, it's not something that a startup can get into, but that doesn't negate the fact that if a company builds something that is wildly successful, they should have the same right to defend it. That it goes directly against free market. That it penalizes success.
The US is not really a free market. We're more of like a friendly monopoly. Like, most industries have three things, three corporations, and it's like,
you've said that last week.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah.
Because it's true. There's always three, because that gives you the appearance of competition.
Right. Blood Reaper says that means Xbox and PlayStation. I would go after them too. I think that just because a company is a corporation does not. Everybody should have to play by the same rules. And that means corporations, as much as some corporations I fucking hate, but we all got to play by the same rules. And I hate the idea that somebody that invented something out of whole cloth and did a really good job at it would now essentially have control of that taken away. Even if it is meaning that it is a little bit annoying that I have to go onto Amazon to purchase a book on my Amazon Kindle app. I have to go onto Amazon to purchase the book. Originally, you could purchase the book directly from the app. But then because of the cut, Amazon was like, yeah, no, we're not going to allow that to happen. So we're just going to make you go to Amazon to purchase the book and then upload it to your Kindle app.
I mean, the thing is,
and that's annoying as hell compared to what it was originally. But even so, I get why it is. It would be one thing if Apple was feeding the iTunes store to a bunch of phones. They aren't. They invented the entire stream. When they say a walled garden, the garden is entirely walled. There is an option for users and for companies. Don't release on the iTunes store. Go to Google Play. You have an option.
Also,
don't like the walled garden of iTunes? Go get an Android. It's not like there aren't options. It's just that everybody wants Apple to play by its rules. Apple invented the whole process, starting with the freaking iPhone.
But the thing is, like, the rules are inconsistent because it's not really a walled garden. You can make an app that goes through Safari instead of like other means. Like if you make it an API system or something like that, then you can basically stream anything you want to the iPhone and it works. And Apple has even said this is an alternative.
Yeah.
But you just make a different kind of app.
Yeah.
And then you have
they want access to the iTunes store, and they want to it all comes down. They have no problem with the walled garden. They have no problem with the antitrust. They have a problem with a 30% cut.
Yes.
And the way to get rid of the 30% cut is make Android better. Make Google Play better.
Also, you have to question, is 30% really worth it?
If you want to play in their... It's like telling somebody that they can't rent their house for whatever the market will bear.
But clearly, the market is fighting back against 30%.
Right.
So is 30% fair?
It is. Because if you don't want to rent that apartment, you can go to the apartment across the street. Go to the apartment building across the street. They charge less.
Yeah. And they do. And now people are saying, hey, this 30% is kind of fucked up because we can get less elsewhere. The market, all this is just the market fighting back against Apple and Apple going, no.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
I would, if I was Apple, I'd say exactly the same thing. No. If you don't like it, go to Google. Just choose not to be on the Apple Store. That's fine with us. We're not preventing you from going to the to Google Play. Go to Google Play. They charge cheaper. The reason why I really love my freaking iPhone is because I don't have to worry about garbage on my iPhone. It is a walled garden for a reason. The walls work both directions, my friend. It not only keeps some people out, it also keeps a lot of bad actors out. It protects you. And I'm not for the nanny state. It's kind of interesting that I'm worrying about like free market at the same time, arguing that I want to be protected and I'm willing to give up a little bit of options in order to be protected. But I'm willing to give up a little bit of options in order to know that this phone doesn't get fucking viruses. This phone does not get fucking viruses. I don't ever have to worry about having my phone where I keep really important information ever having to be under threat of somebody scraping that information and using it for dubious means. I mean, even though I know it's listening to me right now.
Except that most viruses,
right, Siri? Right?
You don't have to worry about viruses, but any sort of hack for any sort of app ecosystem is you still worry about. If Netflix gets hacked, all your information is still going to go.
If Netflix gets hacked, right?
But this is
Netflix plus HBO plus my bank plus everything. This is not just one bank, it's all the banks and the stocks and everything that's all sitting there in this box. And the only thing keeping it from not getting into the hands of people who shouldn't have it is that wall around the garden.
Except every single one of those still exists outside of that walled garden. Which
invites but only in pieces
vulnerabilities.
It's only in pieces, though.
But every single one of those can still get hacked outside that walled garden, and then
every single one of those, as opposed to all of them.
Well, they're all at risk.
They're all individually at risk, but in order for them to be hacked, you have to go from one to the other, to the other, to the other, as opposed to going to one place, putting a malicious app in here, and then all of a sudden, I've lost everything all at once. it makes it very much easier to have your life completely disabled. I know I can go to the App Store, download it, and it's fucking safe.
I mean, there
And
are
the
still
only, you notice the people that are complaining about this, you notice everybody that is filing amicus briefs on this are not users. Apple users perfectly happy with these walls. I like
fuck
the
those
walls.
walls. Fuck those walls.
I know.
Tear down those walls.
See, that's Mac. Mac is different. Thank you for posting that, AC Wraith, of the list of Mac viruses and malware. That's absolutely true. Mac, and it does have a lot of, there are viruses out there, but nowhere near compared to the PC. It is one of the reasons why I use Mac. Not the vast majority, like orders of magnitude. It's written for PC for a reason. And it's called Mac's Little Walled Garden.
As someone who has lived like with a PC for a long time, you just download antivirus software, and even today, most operating systems have that by default. Like the walled garden has lost that idea of security from the walled garden, loses all meaning when I have another platform that's perfectly open that doesn't have walls, and I've not encountered any serious issues there. Like, why bother dealing with this wall when clearly the wall isn't really protecting anything?
Yeah,
there's another platform.
And I'm really surprised nobody has said to me, "Do you have Chrome on your Mac?" I do.
Oh, see?
Do you have passwords in that Chrome? Yes, I do. I try to keep the important ones off in somewhere else. But yeah, absolutely. It's I recognize that there are flaws in my argument.
It's like,
but at the same time, I also recognize that the alternate has more flaws to it for me.
But I don't think it does. It's a walled garden, but that wall is full of holes that have been plastered over. There's duct tape everywhere.
Right. But true. But the question becomes, is no wall better than some wall?
Yes.
I would rather have some wall. I would rather have an imperfect wall than absolutely no wall.
Because the open platform of a PC, you have a wall that is an antivirus software. You
just
hate
Apple because they're successful. You just hate them because they're pretty.
No, I don't.
Yes, you're a mean girl. You're a mean girl. You just hate her because she's pretty.
Yes. No, I will readily admit I have an iPhone because I think the App Store is a better ecosystem than the Google Play Store. Like, I've been on both. I've looked at games at both, and the App Store, just from a basic organizational standpoint, it is better. Like, the Play Store just feels like an also ran amateur hour. Just the way it's organized, the apps they promote, the way things are presented.
Yeah,
it's just not as good.
The iOS store, the Apple Store used to be much better than it is. I'm not gonna lie. It is not the perfect. It's not as good as it used to be. A really great store. It has. iTunes used to be really, really good, and they have featured the fuck out of it so that it's almost unusable now.
I've stopped using iTunes.
Yeah, and
I've deleted
I know why.
the
I
iTunes
recognize.
app from
Absolutely.
my phone.
I can see it. I can't.
No, I think Apple's store is better. It is a better storefront, but I don't think that is a result of the walled garden. That is just a result of them, like, featuring apps.
Right.
Like,
having
it in a basic editorial team in charge of presenting apps and organizing them in a way that the Google Play Store does not. That's not a feature of the walled garden. That's editorial.
Right. Apple has suffered considerably by the loss of Steve Jobs and continues to suffer every single fucking. I just got an an Apple update this last week that did something inexplicable. I'm going to show this to you. I don't know if I can. So back in the day when you had your search on Safari, the search bar was up here. For some reason, they've now put it on the bottom. I
Oh,
don't know
what?
why. Why would you do that? Makes no goddamn sense. And Steve Jobs would have never let that happen. When you make a decision to change a design, you do it with intention. They keep switching. Like it used to be that if you scrolled this way, this is where you got to something. Then they change it and now you have to drag down. It's like, why? Why would you need to change it? Everything has to have an intent. But Tim Cook just lets designers go nuts and move shit with no good reason. They've
I
had
feel
maybe 3 or 4 features recently, I'd say in the last 5 or 6 years, that have been real upgrades, real improvements, Steve Jobsian improvements. Everything else has just been rearranging deck chairs and doing it in such a way that it's like, where the fuck did my deck chair go? Oh, it's over there now? Okay, great. Fine.
I also feel like, to better say where I'm coming from, I have not updated the Apple iOS for fucking years.
Good.
My automatic updates are off
Don't.
because I have noticed I updated once and I noticed the battery life like
Died. Yep.
you're
Yep.
you're going
And
really
Apple is
fast.
not beyond that. They got caught doing that.
Yeah,
They
and
got
so
caught doing that,
it did it
hosing
for one
batteries
update,
on old phones.
and since then I'm like, nope, turn those automatic updates off. Fuck you guys.
Yep. Yep.
So that
Processor bloat. They do it so that
you
you will upgrade.
were talking about like you don't want junk on your iPhone. There's already junk on my iPhone. It comes
It comes
from Apple.
Right, true. All right. See,
Fuckers.
like I said, there's lots of holes in my argument. I'm perfectly
So-
okay to say that I'm not you know, all right on this.
And-
There's
and
definitely
granted,
arguments.
My biases come from the fact that I have an Apple phone, so there's a lot of things I don't like about it. I don't use the Epic Store, so from my point of view, they're perfect. I have no complaints about the Epic Store because I
You haven't
never
used
used
them.
it. So, familiarity breeds contempt, and I'm more familiar with Apple than Epic.
Yeah.
But also, I do think 30% is too big of a cut, and they should absolutely shrink it.
They
Because-
probably should, but
Because other services that take a 30% cut have stopped doing that, and Apple is just now being a stick in the mud and is refusing to bend with the changing times.
which is actually helped Apple because now they can actually say if you don't want to pay our prices, go to any other store. Go to any other store. But you can't come in ours. You can't come to our phone. We invented this phone. You go for the Samsung users. So anyway, moving
Yeah.
right along, we will get back to the story that you started, which was
Okay.
this week
Yes.
in Activision Blizzard shit show, which was Raven QA started to unionize, and then it did not go well. They asked
So-
Amazon Blizzard to recognize their union.
And the QA
We're getting a
team,
divorce, and I want you to meet our new girlfriend.
and it's important to note, like specifically the QA team within Raven was unionizing, not all of Raven,
Right.
Just the QA
Just the
team.
QA team. And yeah, it's a lot like I've had an abusive boyfriend. I am leaving you now. I want you to meet my new boyfriend.
Mhm.
Yeah, it did not go over well. Go. Sorry.
And so basically, the QA team has been broken up, so that it's no longer like a centralized team in a centralized location. They've basically been spread out across all of the other departments within Raven. And what makes this a really effective anti-union tactic is that it's not specifically anti-union, because
It's not illegal. Yeah, it's not
It's not
considered
just-
specifically
it's not
illegal.
just
union
illegal.
busting.
It's actually like a game development best practice.
Mhm.
I've read articles where people have said, I'm surprised this wasn't already how they did QA. Like other studios like BioWare has this happen. They have QA testers embedded with other departments within the company. That's kind of how QA is now done in game development. It's just that Activision chooses to do this at a very, very specific time. And for all we know, because the reason they originally went on strike is like there was a new contract and some people were made employees, some people were not. It may be that as part of them coming back, this happens. We don't know. but it does feel like the timing of it is very, very suspicious, even though this is probably beneficial for QA department overall.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're breaking up a team that specifically said they wanted to unionize less than a week after they said they wanted to unionize.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
you can't
It
help but view
doesn't
that
look
with a
good.
side eye.
It
Yeah.
does not look good at all.
Mm-mm.
So, and of course, I mean, regardless of whether they say that this is how like best practices, it's best. It does effectively union bust them. It doesn't mean that they made the decision because it is best practices. They made that decision because it's union busting.
Mm-hmm.
The intent
Yeah.
was absolutely to break them up.
Blood Reaper has a good thing. He says, "Best decision, worst timing."
No. It's not all about timing. The timing of this was absolutely because they were trying to unionize.
Yeah, I believe that.
That just makes it sound like, oh, well, we really didn't mean to union bust. It just happened that way. Oh, they meant to union bust. It's just that they were able to do it in such a way that no one could accuse them. No one could take them to court for it.
But the thing is, the QA team is still a team. They're still QA people. They
Mhm.
just don't work literally next to each other anymore. So it's in theory it should be harder to unionize. But they can still do this.
They'll
Except
still
one
unionize.
of the other things Activision has done to make this difficult is they have said, we won't recognize the QA union, but you have to get all of Raven to unionize. Like, if you want to unionize, you have to make all of Raven vote on it.
Yeah, they've moved the finish line.
Yeah. So fingers crossed that these QA team embedded with other departments will be able to convince those other departments to vote for.
Go Raven. Go Raven. I
Mhm.
totally think that if anything needs to be unionized, that they should be unionized.
Yeah.
Especially the way that you guys got treated. I mean, there's the industry we all know is toxic to low entry level
Yeah. Which QA is.
employees, which QA is, right? But what Activision Blizzard did to Raven specifically is beyond the pale.
Mhm.
The whole, yeah, we're going to give you contracts. We're going to move you from contractors to full-time employees. All you have to do is move to New Hampshire. And then, hey, good morning. I moved. Oh, yeah, you're fired.
Especially because New Hampshire is not exactly a hub of game development.
No.
Like, if you move to Seattle, it would suck, but also it's like, well, you can easily get another job elsewhere. New Hampshire, not so much.
Yeah. And, sell your house in California to move to New Hampshire. Now try to move back to California.
Yeah.
Not likely. Yeah, I hope they succeed. Let's see what my next item, by the way, and I didn't write this, but in case you're interested, let me see if I can find it. Did you know that Mark Dara has his own website? I mean, a YouTube channel?
Who is Mark Dara? The name
Mark
sounds familiar.
Dara from BioWare, formerly of
okay.
BioWare, Dragon Age, essentially.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, he has his own. Let me see if I can find it. It is called. There we go. Found it. I have it subscribed. So, Mark Dara has his own. Oh God, dang it! Did I unshare my page? I did. All right. Can we go back? I did not mean to do that. It is called Old Game Dev Advice. And he recently did a video that is called BioWare Magic. And he rips into BioWare about crunch and how, it's just and how much of it is bullshit. And how essentially the crunch, there is no such thing as BioWare Magic. And it is toxic to employees. It is toxic to developers. It is toxic to publishers who believe in this BioWare magic. And if you're not familiar with the term, it's used to mean we have no idea what we're doing for most of the cycle, what they're calling the hockey stick. And you can see it on the screen there. that you have this bunch of development on a game, and then all of a sudden, at some particular point in the game development, that improvements that work results actually start to happen, and that you can't predict where the elbow of this hockey stick is. And BioWare magic has always been, the phrase BioWare magic has been, that they'll just somehow get it done. And that is what happened with Anthem. That they left everything so late and didn't make any decisions that they needed to. And through ineptitude and confusion and essentially just mismanagement, that the hockey stick ended up not actually ever turning up.
It was just a spear.
It was just a straight line that it sort of went up, and it maybe if they'd have had another year or two of development, they could have actually gotten that all the way to the tip of that hockey stick to make a good game, but they didn't. So he does a really good job on this channel of talking about the inside workings of game development. And this got a lot of attention. And if you have not, it's a fairly short video. It's only what? 7 minutes. But if you want to hear somebody who was pretty much part of this machine of making people crunch, and was for many, many years and is no longer in it, and what his opinions are from the inside, it's a really good channel. So I recommend it. Again, his channel is called Old Game Dev Advice. And you might want to look that up since we're on the topic of crunch and publishers and developers and people essentially getting eaten alive by the game development system. So, all right. So next official item is, let's see, I did one, you did one. So now it is moi. Okay, here's an interesting one. So, a French supermarket has put up a notice in its gaming section, which I guess this particular supermarket has a gaming section, that advised prospective buyers that Microsoft now owns Call of Duty publisher Activision. So after the announcement of the ABK purchase by Microsoft, they have put up a sign that says on their PS5 hardware that says that buyers should choose their console machine carefully.
That honestly feels like a grand overreaction, especially because it's the deal's not even going to be finished, even if everything goes perfectly, for a year
at least. But still,
a year at least, and
they could be watching this for a year. I mean, playing their console for a year, and then lose access to Call of Duty. They actually specifically write out in this thing, Call of Duty being, oh, come on.
Yes, I mean, even then though, they've already said that like the next 3 Call of Duties will be on PlayStation. The next Call of Duty is going to come out while Activision is still self-owned, like before any deal goes through. And then the 2 Call of Duties after that probably already have some deals in place with PlayStation. Mm-hmm. So at the very least, you're looking at 3 years before any of this becomes an issue.
Right. But it is kind of interesting that the repercussions of the Activision Blizzard purchase is starting to happen within retailers. And it's starting to get around. People are a little afraid of losing games that they've been used to having.
Yeah, and that's absolutely consoles. Fair.
And that is a fair thing. And if you're looking at a console that you're going to spend a bunch of money on, and it is we're talking about, how long was the life cycle of PlayStation 4? 5 years, 7 years?
I think it was longer because they had the Pro come out.
Trying to think of when I bought my PlayStation 4.
Let me look up. PS4 release date was November 4th. Well, thank you. That doesn't. I'm looking for the year.
Anybody in the chat room, what year
Wikipedia.
did PlayStation 4 come out? I should know this. Off the top of my head.
2013.
2013 and 2020 was when it came out. So it was a 7-year cycle. So
Okay.
conceivably, a decision that you make now, 5 years from now, 6 years from now, could affect whether you're playing a game that you're used to playing simply because of this purchase.
Mm. Honestly, I'm surprised that it was
And you say
only
it's
7
overreaction.
years.
I don't think it is. They're talking about the next 3 Call of Duties. In theory, 3 years, 3 to 4 years from now.
No, the next 3 are guaranteed to be on PlayStation.
Right. That's 3 to 4 years. That's just a little over half of the ownership life of this
Yes.
console.
Also, I'm surprised that PlayStation 4 was only 7 years. I felt like it was so much longer.
I knew it was 7 years. That's why I said 7 years, because
I thought
that was in the back of my head.
I feel like it was 10 at least.
Mm-mm.
That's
No,
crazy.
we were playing the Xbox One 10 years ago. No, I'm Xbox One, but Xbox 360 10 years ago.
God.
Back in those days. Remember those days when we played on Microsoft all the time together?
Oh, yeah.
When I bought a PlayStation 3 and it sat there, and I think I probably turned it on maybe 25 times.
Oh, yeah. I rarely played the PS3.
Yeah. It's just a waste of time.
I remember I would actually start a party on Xbox, and because they had the really nice, comfortable wireless headphone, I would start a party on Xbox, put in that wireless thing, then go play a game on PlayStation. Because if someone showed up, they could just join my party on Xbox, and I'd instantly start talking to them.
Right, because PlayStation, and to this day, it's still not a very social.
Yeah.
And Xbox is a social network, whereas PlayStation's network is, their chat is, you rarely find people who actually talk. Even in games where you're obliged to talk, you don't find people who talk.
Just look at their first party output. PlayStation specializes in cinematic single player story games.
Yep. So next item. That'd be you.
Shoot. Okay. Okay. EA has announced a whole bunch of new Star Wars games, and well, they haven't announced them. They have said that Respawn is basically the Star Wars developer now. They are working on Star Wars. Oh God, what's the full name?
Well, the
Jedi
Wars, a Star Wars Jedi franchise. It's a new game that they're going to be working on.
No, it's Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order 2.
Is it? That the name of it?
What?
Really?
I guess Star Wars Jedi but like that's bullshit. It's Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. That's what it should be grammatically. The franchise isn't called Star Wars Jedi. The franchise is called Star Wars. Trying to rename it Star Wars Jedi.
No, they're calling it the Star Wars Jedi franchise.
Yeah, that's just their bullshit way of avoiding having 2 colons in their game title because that looks stupid.
We really should have 2 colons in the name of Ookie Bookie Spooky.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Ookie colon Spooky.
Ookie colon Baluki.
Ookie
colon
Bookie
colon Baluki colon 2 dash Revenge of Ookie Bookie. But yeah, they have announced that Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order 2 is in the works, but Respawn is also working on 2 other Star Wars games aside from that.
Really? I didn't know that.
That's basically what the announcement was, is that they are working on a whole bunch of Star Wars games. And it's interesting to note that one of the upcoming Star Wars games will be a first-person shooter, which kind of feels like the Battlefront. Kind of interesting that DICE is not working on that.
Yeah.
Because DICE has had a very rough go of it lately. And so this is basically EA saying, hey, let's not give you another project.
Maybe you need to take some time off. Maybe you're going to go into your room for a timeout.
Take some time.
Think about what you did.
Yeah.
Don't do it again.
Yes. fix Battlefield and then put out another one that's not bad.
Battlefield.
Yeah. So yeah, Respawn is fucking busy. They've got Apex going. They've got 3 different Star Wars games in the works.
Respawn magic. It's about to happen.
Yeah,
Oof.
Respawn magic. I mean, to their credit, they have put out like good games. They have not put out a flop yet.
So far.
Granted,
As we all know, nobody is immune to flop sweat.
They're over. How do you pronounce that?
What?
Over, like the gameography, all the things that they have done.
Oeuvre.
The Oeuvre is only 3 games, so
yeah,
they're a young developer. Mm-hmm. But it's also worth noting that the guy that's the head of Respawn has also been put in charge of like the Battlefield connected universe. Mm-hmm. So has DICE loses projects to Respawn, people from Respawn are being moved over to DICE to kind of oversee them. So in the future, maybe Respawn is the new DICE.
Yeah. Well, if Respawn can put out a better FPS than Battlefield 2042, then possibly.
Maybe they should just have Respawn make Battlefield.
Wouldn't that be interesting? Wouldn't that be interesting?
I would be down for that. I want a good Battlefield. There have been multiple times where I'm sitting just remembering fun moments playing Battlefield 5 and thinking, I want that again.
Thank you for the link on how to pronounce oeuvre.
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 Okay. I mean, look at that word. That word is like an insult to the English language. You cannot look at that word. You cannot look at that word. That's why it's an insult to the English language.
Because it's French.
You cannot look at that word and naturally think, how do I pronounce that? No.
It's spelled oeuvre.
Oeuvre.
Oeuvre. It says it's spelled exactly how it sounds. Oeuvre.
No, that's the typical French bullshit of like, hey, we're going to take these 4 letters and turn them into 1.
If you're from France, I apologize. Nick is an idiot.
Oeuvre. That's oeuvre.
No, it's not ER. That's RE.
VRE. There should be like another vowel between VR and E.
VRE. Only one way you pronounce it. Nah.
Complete with a French accent.
Complete with a French accent lady saying it different from y'all.
She says it differently from us? It's not oeuvre? How does she
pronounce it? Okay, now I'm having to look it up. All right. I will do this. Stand by. How to pronounce oeuvre. All right. I
hear someone say oeuvre.
No, it's oeuvre.
Evra?
No, that's wrong. It's oeuvre.
Evra.
Let's see if I can play it.
This pronunciation has it be like OV.
Can you hear it?
Oeuvre.
We'll do it slow.
Oeuvre.
They say oeuvre. Okay, let me share my.
Maybe that's the French version, oeuvre, but it's oeuvre in English. Okay, here we go. How to pronounce oeuvre 3 ways. We are going to play that.
Just going down this rabbit hole.
Yeah, totally going down this rabbit hole. All right, we're okay, and I'm going to give credit where it is. This is English with Julian.
Meaning or designating a work of art. So, for reference, in French in France, this is said as its original pronunciation as œuvre, œuvre, which explains this strange spelling for English. That's because it's French. In English,
There's
however,
an F in there.
It is usually said in British English as œuvre, œuvre. imitating
There's no
the French
fucking F.
pronunciation.
That's
in
British.
American English, however, this is usually said as ouvre, ouvre in American English, or oeuvre in British English. All of this from French, oeuvre, oeuvre. And now you know. Did you get this? Was this any helpful? Let me know in the comments and by using
There
the
you go.
So the
Ouvre,
French
ouvre,
put an
oeuvre, and oeuvre.
basically the French put an extra O in there.
No, the French put it have a little bit more E in the oeuvre.
Yeah, well, they pronounce it like VORE. The French pronounce it with an extra O. The British pronounce it with an extra F. And Americans just make up their own goddamn thing.
No, we put in the Americans
No,
put in an extra O.
We put
We
the
go,
extra O in the
"Ooh."
front. We put
British
the extra O in the
go,
front. And French put the extra O in the back.
and French go oeuvre. Nah, I can't do French. Cannot do it justice. I would have to practice. But anyway, can we move along of how?
Yes.
We're moving right along. All right, next item is Ubisoft. Ubisoft wants to let you know, if you don't like NFTs, clearly you don't understand NFTs. That Ubisoft executive did an interview with Australian site Finder. And they pretty much said, in fact, they absolutely said that clearly, if you are a gamer, if you are a user and you're not liking the ideas of having NFTs in their games, you're not getting it. They're doing it not because so much they want to make money. They're doing it as a favor to us, to allow us to have some value in the things that we purchase from them. That when we're playing a game, we buy all these skins, and then we stop playing the game, we can sell the skins. Of course, Ubisoft takes a cut. Well, first off, they get all the money on the initial, and then they take a cut of the secondary. So really, but I mean, that's not what's important. What's important is that they're giving value to us to create NFTs. Beyond the fact that NFTs, we do know, we understand, we get it. Sorry that there's a glare here. We get it. We know what NFTs are. We're not idiots. If we don't agree with you, it doesn't mean we're stupid. It means maybe that we're fucking smart and we know exactly what you're trying to do and we don't want any of it. So, yeah.
It's the same bullshit because the things that he talks about are things you can already do in games. Like people selling digital items is already possible. Valve does it in TF2. Diablo did it with their real market auction house. It kind of broke the balance of their game and they decided, hey, this was a bad idea. We shouldn't do this. But at least Valve has shown that, hey, if you do it with cosmetics, it works. Like, this isn't the blockchain is not what is holding back this possibility. It's policies put in place by existing platform holders.
Right. So here's the actual quote. And this came through Nicholas Pouard.
Oh, fuck you, Nick.
VP at Ubisoft Strategic Innovations Lab, and Didier Genevois, Ubisoft's blockchain technical director. Essentially, the two bros who think that this is a good idea and convince everybody else it is. I think, and this is from Pouard, said, I think gamers don't get what a digital secondary market can bring to them. For now, because of the current situation in the context of NFTs, gamers really believe it's first destroying the planet. It is, by the way. And second, it's a tool for speculation. It is. But what we at Ubisoft are seeing first is this end game. The end game is about giving players the opportunity to resell their items once they've finished with them or they're finished playing with the game itself. So really, they said this. This is a quote. So really, it's for them. It's really beneficial. They just don't get it for now.
What's frustrating is that, like, yes, a digital secondary market would be extremely player friendly,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't need the NFT to do that.
No, you
You
don't.
would need, if you want to resell your digital game after you're done with it, you need to make a deal with Microsoft and Sony. Anything Ubisoft does is not going to matter on that front. You need to talk to the platform holders.
Right. They're just stop fucking with our games.
And even then, like,
And stop drinking the whole like blockchain Bitcoin bullshit. It's all going to fall apart. You all realize this. NFTs, blockchain, Bitcoin, all of them, Dogecoin, all of the stupid cryptocurrencies, they're all going to fail. You realize that, right? The only thing that's
not
not
Dogecoin.
keeping them, actually, I take it back. They may not fail. As long as there's drug dealers using their currency, it won't
No.
fail. But
No.
I'd hate to put my faith in my retirement funds and my
Yes.
millions into fucking drug dealing.
No, Dogecoin will only ever go up. Dogecoin is perfect because it's adorable.
Oh, whatever. Yeah. And it's got Elon Musk.
Oh, okay, that makes it less adorable.
Yeah, Elon Musk is the big Dogecoin dude. He's the one that essentially says, "I love Dogecoin," and Dogecoin goes up.
Why is no cat coin?
Dogecoin goes up.
Give me a cat coin.
There. Oh, please, let's not have any more coins.
No, the best coin I saw was
Yeah, no.
the YouTuber Spiffing Brit made Spiff coin.
Yes.
Except he literally minted a coin. And it's like it was like a limited thing that you could buy. You could buy one literal actual Spiff coin that was worth one Spiff coin.
Well, Spiffing Brit, one of the things he did, I don't know if he's continuing to do it, is I think he took something like $10,000 and bought $1,000 worth of 100 different coins or whatever it was.
Oh yeah, he's done that
$100 worth of
periodically.
100 different coins and watched, and it's like, yeah.
Yeah, he did that periodically, and he had like a video where he checked in with it after a week, after a month, and then after like 3 months. And so, in a year, maybe he'll do another video that's like, here's the investments after this time.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
the most interesting takeaway from those video series, and we may have mentioned it before, but there are a lot of digital coins, crypto coins for esports teams.
Mm-hmm.
And the value of those coins went up and down depending on how well that team did in the season, which basically means buying those coins is just a roundabout way of sports gambling.
Sports gambling. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is a pyramid scheme being executed on a global scale. And while you could argue that stocks in the stock market are that same thing, it is not, because stocks are actually ownership of an actual company that has actual assets. If one of those coins goes under, there's no asset securing it. It's a difference between owning a timeshare and owning a piece of property. You own a timeshare, you don't own the property. But you own the property, you own the property. So it's just, it frustrates me that there are so many people that are thinking this is a real thing, when all it is a bunch of 20 and 30-year-olds, old men who are sitting around sniffing their own farts and trying to convince us it's flowers.
I don't think it's old men. It's all young people.
I said 20 or 30-year-old men.
Oh, okay. I just
sitting around drinking Pliny the Younger and smelling farts.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you. Spiff Breaks Crypto. Thank you for that link. So Blood Reaper says, speaking of drug dealing, check out Discord. Yes, that's true.
What was the drug dealing there?
Oh, that's one of the things that held back a lot of the cocaine dealers in the 80s and 90s, or in the 80s particular, was their struggle doing transactions of cash because they had to move cash, physical cash, from point A to point B, and they'd had to smuggle it through a number of different ways through airports. Now you don't have to do that. Crypto just allows them to send their money directly, and they're never at risk of having their money seized by TSA. And same thing with Discord. Discord allows drug dealers, rather than actually having to make phone calls through phones that can be tapped, they're just communicating to each other via Discord so that they can't be tapped. Yeah, it's way easier to be. That's why you went from cartels in the 80s of being kind of rebels. I'm going to say rebels. They're kind of armies where they required a lot of men. Now you have essentially drug corporations in Bolivia and South America. Bolivia is just part of South America, but in South American countries, it's gotten way more business. It's a bit like our cannabis in the California, whereas most of the cannabis companies are now slowly condensing down into smaller and smaller groups, and it's all white men with lots of money. It is corporations. It is not individuals that are actually starting cannabis shops because you can't afford to do it. You can't get through all the hoops that you need to go through. But anyway, moving right along. Next item.
Well, speaking of drug cartels, Blood Reaper had put in the Discord that there's an incident in Mexico where apparently a woman was caught smuggling drugs across the country, and she was recruited from GTA Online.
No, really?
Yep. She met someone named George in GTA Online and talked with him, and then the conversation went to Snapchat, and that's where she was offered $2,000 to be a drug runner.
Oh my God.
She said that she was apprehensive about smuggling electronics across the border.
But she could do drugs.
No. I think she thought she was smuggling electronics, but was actually smuggling drugs.
Oh, it's drugs stuffed into yeah. There was a really interesting interview with a guy named Posh Pete, who was a British guy who would import, he was like a huge amount of drug into England and Wales. He was the guy who was importing all of the drugs from South America into to England back in the 90s. And he eventually went to jail, and he's now straight. But they did an interview with him, and it was really interesting of one of the ways that they eventually figured out how to smuggle cocaine into the United States was that they were able to mix it with latex and then turn it into sleeping bag pads that were inside tents, and they could get 5 kilos of cocaine into a single tent. And they would send people across the border, with a tent. And then they'd arrive, they drop off the tent, and they could extract the cocaine from the latex. And of course, dogs don't smell it, and it's just a tent.
Yeah.
This is crazy to me that you could do that. I guess they
is.
were also doing it with molasses. Some guy got busted recently for importing, drums and drums and drums and drums of molasses, and what it was molasses with cocaine in it, and then they could extract the molasses from the cocaine.
I remember way back at the turn of the century, that Steven Soderbergh movie Traffic, that had a scene where they were melting down what looked like plastic toys that actually had cocaine in them, like in the plastic.
Yeah, that's a real thing. Absolutely a thing. You can apparently mix cocaine with just about everything. It's crazy.
It's universal. It's so flexible. It's such a great building material.
Great product.
Yeah, we should put cocaine in all of our buildings.
We should put cocaine in our sodas.
I want to put it in the walls because I want to see people going around like
licking the walls.
Licking the walls.
Anyway, there we go. That's the link for the real life cartels recruiting drug mules on GTA Online. By the way, did she I'm assuming she got thrown in jail, and did it say how much jail time she got?
It doesn't say how much jail time. It said that even though she pleaded guilty, she's still being prosecuted for like conspiracy and all that stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Next item is
I have one. And this represents one of my fears coming true already about the Activision Blizzard, the Microsoft potentially buying Activision Blizzard, is that it has set off a wave of speculation about who else could buy who. This is actually from the Hollywood Reporter.
yes. I saw that article. Very interesting of who could buy who.
Yeah, and it's a bunch of like,
I think James Stephanie Sterling also has something about who could buy who,
okay,
but I can't remember what it was. But it was
um,
a lot of speculation.
but
Anyway,
yeah,
you were saying.
it's a lot of analysts going, "Oh, they could buy this, they could buy this," in excited terms, and I'm thinking like none of this is good. None
Another
of
one
it
that
is
because we
really
talked
good.
about this yesterday about how, or not last today, but last week about now that this has happened, what would Sony do? And we
Yeah.
said that buying Square Enix would not be a bad thing. Another one that was, I think it was James Stephanie Sterling that mentioned another good target would be Capcom.
Yes, yeah. And in the Hollywood Reporter article, a team of analysts at Enders Analytics suggested that EA would likely be the favorite for Sony.
Mhm.
But EA has like a market value of $37 billion, whereas Ubisoft and Take-Two would actually be considerably cheaper.
Mhm.
Because I think Ubisoft has a value of $6 billion, and Take-Two is shoot, I'm trying to find it in this article. Take-Two is I think around 20.
Mhm.
But basically, they would be far, far cheaper things for Sony to buy. But the article also mentions that tech giants are really interested in gaming, and for the cost, for how much they make, someone specifically is quoted. I can't find the name, but the quote is saying the balance sheet of big tech, all else equal, wouldn't even notice acquiring these companies.
True.
And like that, I find that that idea of consolidation really scary. What if Google just buys Sony? What if Google just buys a bunch of things, Microsoft buys a bunch of things, and Amazon buys a bunch of things because they can, because they're just tech giants with massive amounts of money. And
Yeah, I don't see Amazon doing that at all.
you don't, but like it's that idea of consolidation of just,
Yeah,
hey,
I think
who
that's
else is
gone a
going to
little too
buy
far
what?
down the rabbit hole of tin hat conspiracies.
I hope
That's
it
you
is.
can go
I
down
hope it is.
I mean, if you take that, continue on down the hole, then Google and Sony and Microsoft will own everything, and that's entirely possible. But that's a long way away before we get into like the
So by the time I'm 60, I'm going to be playing GE's new video game console.
GE. Yeah, you wish. Gee, wishes it could afford any of that.
Who else is like the super big conglomerate that owns everything? I know-
DuPont. DuPont owns a lot. Anyway, moving right along. Next item is coming from me. Is it? Oh, yes. Here's one. So there is a game out there in the world called Foxhole. And Foxhole is a top-down shooter that it's a shooter, but it takes the whole ecosystem of combat to an extreme in that players can play various roles. You could have somebody who is a frontline player. You can have somebody who is a manufacturer. And they take place they take part in these huge battles. One of the roles that you can do in this game is being logistical, which involves crafting weapons so that they can be used in a fight. It essentially is war on a big picture scale. A group of players are currently on strike in the game, meaning they are refusing to make guns and other weapons because they say, quote, we believe that Foxhole should have a gameplay experience that causes, we don't believe that Foxhole should have a gameplay experience that causes players this much frustration. Essentially, they are trying to stop the game from being able to be used by withholding the guns that they are supposed to be crafting, so that and they've named themselves a group called Logistics Organization for General Improvement, or LOGI. Logi.
Mhm.
They said our frustration has begun to eclipse our patience, and they gave developers until January 10th to, quote, provide specific, detailed feedback about the feasibility of implementing solutions regarding their concerns, which include things like changing the times that they have to pull from public stockpiles and refineries so that they're shorter, so that they can actually do their job better, acquiring early game components be easier to obtain and stop it from being competitive and toxic. Hold time for factory orders, they say, is too short. Essentially, they are being worked to death at a too difficult job, and they want the game to be better for them as the logistics part of this game. And until the game they fix it, they are going to stop work and not make guns so that nobody can play. And I just
But
think
are there
hilarious that
no
we have an in-game strike from
are there no
crafters.
default guns available?
Mm-mm. Not at the degree, not at the scale that it needs to be made in order for
Okay.
the people on the ground to actually fight these big epic battles.
Okay, wait, yeah, I'm reading the article that AC Wraith linked to. And so Foxhole is an MMO style war game where battles are conducted over lengthy periods of time. The game also puts a lot of importance in ammo and resources, and players fighting on the front lines of these wars need to be resupplied by logistics teams if they hope to succeed. And so these are players who will decline to play logistic roles in Foxhole until the game can improve its logistics systems. So they're like refusing to make ammo and resources so that the soldiers on the front lines of these MMO wars won't get the resources they need to fight.
They're gone on strike.
Wow.
They've had an in-game strike. When they created this game that actually has the possibility for this happening. I think it's great. I think
That's
it's wonderful.
fascinating.
Yeah, it is.
Especially
isn't it?
because they're basically saying, hey, all section of the game sucks, so we won't play it. And like the other teams rely on that.
There's an old joke. It's a really, really long joke, but the short version of it is that there's a body. All the different parts of the body are all having argument who's the most important part of the body, and the eyes are saying, "Yeah, I'm important because if you don't have me, then the body doesn't know where to go." The brain is saying, "I control all of you guys. That's the most important thing. If you don't have me, none of you work together." Arms are saying, "I pick up stuff. You would never be," legs are saying, "I'm the one that actually moves you. I'm the most important." And finally the asshole turns up and says, "I'm the most important." Everybody laughs. And he's like, "Really? Okay." So then the asshole stopped working. The legs got wobbly, the brain stopped working, the eyes couldn't see straight, and then everybody finally said, "Yep, you're the king. You're the most important part." And it's like that. They've been like, "You're the ass. We're logistics. We're the most important." Everybody goes, "Fuck, you're not the fucking what?" And they're like, "Okay, see how you do without us. We can do our job without you. You cannot do your job without us."
That is, yeah, that's cool. Good on them. Good on them for trying to get the game improved.
Mm-hmm. So, AC Ray says, "Low guy, good underdog. Your union name, Low guy. Oh, Low guy is how is it
Oh, it's
pronounced?
yeah,
Oh, that's awesome.
LOGI.
What good marketing
Low
on
guy.
them.
Hmm.
Wow, good marketing." So yeah, I just thought that was a really interesting story about
That
how they're
is.
doing that. Yeah, I'm rooting for him, man. Low guy,
Go low
go
guy.
Lie guy, go. All right, so next item.
I should have brought this up when we were talking about Ubisoft, but Ubisoft has announced that on April 28th, it will shut down its battle royale shooter Hyperscape. This is the game.
I didn't even know that they had a battle royale game.
This is the one that they showed off
I mean,
briefly.
like I did Hyperscape.
I think last year during one of their not E3 streams. It
Mhm.
was the battle royale game where it was like super digital glitch focused aesthetic where like the environment would kind of fall apart around you as if you're in a simulation. A lot of the powers that people had were focused on maneuverability, so you could like jump over buildings and things like that. It moved very, very quickly.
Mhm.
And apparently it didn't catch on enough that they had decided to give up completely
It
on it.
reminds me, oh, what is the
Listen to
name
hear
of
it.
that game? It had 2 versions. The first one was packaged, unfortunately, it was a great game, but it was packaged with the Halo beta, Halo trial.
Uh, uh, the one where you're the super soldier?
Yeah.
Yeah, Crackdown.
Crackdown. It looks a little bit like Crackdown to me.
Yeah, first person Crackdown,
Mhm.
Battle Royale.
Mhm.
Not a bad comparison.
When did this come out?
Last year.
Oh, that's not good.
I think it's been less than a year.
Wow. What a shame.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't surprise me. I mean, that it's a pretty crowded the bros. How do you know a bro in business? All they talk about is making battle royale games and investing in crypto and NFTs. Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
it's
listen to my pitch. It's an NFT driven battle royale game.
yeah, where you have to battle it out in your you get NFTs and then you could trade those for crypto.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You are an NFT,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if you lose, if you die, then your NFT gets deleted. But if you win, your NFT goes up in value. Each player is an NFT and each player is ranked. And so you get to invest in the player NFTs.
Do not give them any fucking ideas. Do not give them. It's called Broscape.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, what's better than allowing players to resell digital goods than allowing them to resell themselves?
Oh, genius. You should be working for Ubisoft.
I should.
So yeah. So if you were a big Hyperscape fan, sorry. All 3 of you. So next item. I think I'm done. Do I have any more? No, I do not.
Okay, I found a bunch and then I found a couple new ones.
Well, I mean, we are running. We're at 2 minutes 17. So
Yeah.
or 2 hours 17. Remember, we can only go 3 hours.
The PlayStation free games,
Mm-hmm.
PS Plus games for February have been announced. You'll be getting EA Sports UFC 4.
Yep. Ooh, I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Okay. You'll be getting Planet Coaster Console Edition. And then, excuse me, probably the biggest one of the group is Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep. This is a standalone adventure. This confused me at first because I thought this was like the new fantasy-esque Borderlands game that was coming out, but that's not what that is. This is a DLC for Borderlands 2 that has been turned into a standalone adventure. So this is kind of the precursor to the newer fantasy-esque Borderlands-looking game that's coming out soon. I forget what that one is called. AC Wraith, maybe you can help me out with that. But this is just the Borderlands 2 DLC turned standalone. but also I feel like that's the most recognizable, highest profile game of this bunch. So if you're a PS Plus member, that's what you'll be getting for free in February. In other news, the Mortal Kombat movie that was released on HBO Max in theaters last year is officially getting a sequel. I am unusually excited about this because there hasn't been a director attached, but the writer of the Marvel's Moon Knight series is attached to write it. And that guy, Jeremy Slater, has written several other things that I'm really impressed by. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does with Mortal Kombat, of all things. At the very least, they've got a good writer involved in it. Who knows what the director will be, but that movie was dumb and fun enough that I'm interested to see what they do with the sequel.
All right. So next item.
And yes, going next. What's another good one? Here are some new ones. Michael Mann. This is kind of tangentially related to games. Michael Mann is releasing Heat 2. But it's not a movie, it's a book. It's a novelization that he wrote in conjunction with a political thriller writer. But what's interesting about this is that Heat 2 was once supposed to be a video game that was being developed by Gearbox. And I can remember long, long ago when there were rumors that Gearbox was developing a Heat video game. And so this is basically, we're kind of basically seeing the novelization version of what that game would have been in theory. Whether or not Heat needs a sequel is certainly debatable, but Michael Mann enjoyed it enough to apparently work on it across mediums. So there's that.
Interesting.
He's very invested in it.
Next item.
This is, again, kind of tangentially related to games, but it has to do with YouTube and their fair use stuff. So a YouTuber named Totally Not Mark has done a bunch of anime reviews. And an anime company, Toei, issued a bunch of takedown notices for his videos. And they basically issued takedown notices for his entire channel. And so it was more than 150 copyright claims against all of his review videos. And because of that, he stepped away from them a while. Well, now all of his videos have come back up. And that has to do with YouTube implementing a fair use system that apparently they have not had to use before, which basically allows a video to be taken down in one country and kept up in another.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like common sense, but apparently this is the first time they've actually had to enforce that. So I don't know if any of his videos are available in Japan, but at least in the US they have been put back up.
Yep. Hopefully that doesn't get us taken down in Japan for just showing his channel, showing it.
It probably will, because
as a news item.
We're big in Japan.
As a news item.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, essentially what you were just seeing was his most recent video.
And then again, this is just an interesting article on Waypoint about current geopolitics invading video games. One of Final Fantasy XIV's top streamers is a woman from Ukraine, and she spent one of her streams going into detail about her fears about possibly having to flee when Russia has been threatening to invade Ukraine really intensely for a couple months. And she's basically talked about how she has a bag ready to go because she's about 2 hours from the border.
Oh.
And how it's difficult for her to go to another country because she has a dog. I think she has a pit bull specifically. and like there are various restrictions on taking those pets over because there's a rabies risk with them.
Right.
And so she can't just like go to another country really easily because of that. And so she has various plans involved. Basically, a top video game streamer talking publicly about their plans to flee their country.
God, that's just imagine, like, you and I are sitting here as streamers, and
Yeah, just saying like, oh yeah, I've got a bug out bag and I'm ready to go to
Right.
Canada if
I
I hear about Mexico invading.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, gosh,
Yeah.
what's going on in Ukraine? It's just, I can't imagine, especially when you're right near the border. Like you've
Yeah.
lived your whole life there, everything is fine. And then all of a sudden there's about to be a war and there are sabers rattling. And the only thing that's keeping them back is the world implications. Because they're saying that if Russia invades Ukraine, it will be the largest invasion since World War II.
Yeah.
We don't
makes
really
sense.
think about
That's
it in the
correct.
United States, but this could be World War III.
Mm-hmm.
The one that we've all been like dreading all our lives.
I mean, especially because Russia controls a lot of energy resources for the rest of Europe.
Uh-huh.
Like, yeah, there's a lot of implications there.
Yeah. Yeah. We could be very much on the border, on the dawn of being where our grandparents were when, Hitler invaded Poland.
Mhm.
Germany invaded Poland. We were like,
So that's my last news story, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's end it on a happy note.
Yeah, on it on happy now. Yay! So what are you going to play this week? We're going to play tonight, aren't we?
Yeah, either Extraction or Little Hope.
Chris really wants to play Extraction because he's got a new headset that he can actually hear. Because
Oh, that's
before, the
true.
only headset that he had that worked with, apparently that's a big thing, is that not all headsets work with Stadia. So he had to rely upon an old headset that was so old it was like the plastic on the cups were leaving black marks all over his face, and it was cutting out because the wire was broken, and it was just all kinds of bad. He was really struggling, and he managed to play 3 full nights of gaming in that state. So now he really wants to play tonight because of he's got a new headset that he can actually hear us, and it sounds good, and he can actually not be playing a game with one ear tied behind his back. So we'll probably play Extraction and then
Okay,
pick up Little Hope maybe tomorrow.
One more news story that I just saw that is ending on like a good note.
An actual good note.
Apparently Microsoft is changing the ways that Game Pass will auto renew. And one of the good things they will change is that they'll not charge inactive accounts. So basically,
Really?
if you have not used your account for a long time, you'll get a notice that says like, hey, we see you haven't been using your account. Here's how to stop it. If they continue to not use that account, the auto renewals will automatically stop.
That's nice. That's
yes,
really good.
Instead of forgetting that you're paying for it and getting charged monthly for God knows how long, I guess now they'll only charge you. It doesn't.
Microsoft is doing anti-Spreaker.
Yeah. And I don't see on this Kotaku article exactly how long it takes for an account to go dormant. But I don't know. It's some time. So you'll only be automatically charged for a year if you don't use it. Just pulling
That's
a
good.
random number out of
Thank you, Microsoft, for being this so very much points out how the person in charge of a corporation can change everything about that corporation, can change the whole culture of that corporation. And it really does come down from the top. If it weren't for Phil Spencer, we wouldn't have that. If we still had what's his name?
Don Matrick.
Don Matrick. We still had Don Matrick on at Microsoft, we would not have any of the things that we currently have. And how Microsoft was just had its head up its fucking ass fucking ass under the last
I don't
console
want to
generation.
attribute this to Phil Spencer, because this is a thing that originated in the UK and
Mhm.
will come to, worldwide in time. But this is because of an investigation into online gaming subscriptions by the UK's Competition and Markets
Oh.
Authority. This is fucking government getting involved
Oh, you
and
didn't
making
say
sure
that.
we don't get fucked over.
Oh man, if it weren't for the UK, in many cases, if it weren't for the UK or the EU, we wouldn't have a lot of
Yes.
the consumer protections that we have in the United States.
Regulation is good,
Regulation
people.
is good. Here's a reason why it's there.
I do Minutes Plus mentions. I do like the quack noise to represent the guy.
Yeah. That guy, Don fucking Matrick.
Yeah. Again, like, imagine people would be way more suspect about Microsoft buying Activision if Don Matrick were in charge.
Oh, if Don Matrick were in charge,
Mhm.
it would be the equivalent of Bobby Kotick being in charge of Microsoft. If just ugh.
Yeah. So
That
it's like,
that man failed upwards. He
Oh,
failed
yeah.
upwards.
Wait,
and then
didn't
where
he-
did he go after Microsoft?
he went
Zynga.
to Zynga, which just got bought by Take-Two.
Right, but he went he wasn't
So-
he went to Zynga, and I think he was there for a year. No, he was
Oh, okay.
he is a proof, an example of that whole concept of failing upwards.
Okay, wait.
He
Don
failed
Matrick.
upwards into everything.
Don Matrick, Wikipedia.
Well, I looked it up just recently. He's on a couple of board of directors,
Okay, well,
that's
according to
about it.
Wikipedia, he
boards of directors.
in 2015 he resigned as Zynga's CEO, and there is nothing after that.
Right. Now he's just on boards because that's what, retired CEOs do is they go get themselves on boards and get paid a bunch of money to have
I
4
guess
meetings a year.
he's still probably on the board of directors for Zynga.
That's where the big money is, by the way. Boards. That is the ultimate golden parachute.
Yep. We need to create a board of directors for GameHounds.
No, we don't. We can't
Yeah,
afford.
we do.
Can't afford a board of directors.
Yeah, we can.
We need to be on
I
the
will
board of
be-
directors of some other podcast is what we need.
That's true. That's how you make the real
That's
money.
how
is
you
you're
make the
on
money.
multiple boards.
Right. You work your life until you get up into a position where you're board eligible to be picked up on somebody else. Yep.
And then once you're board eligible for one place, you can use that to get board
And then you
eligible
meet
for another place.
you meet four meetings a year. You sit around and you hang out and you listen to other people talking, and then you leave, and maybe you have an opinion on occasion, and then you just rake in cash. It is the retirement account for people in C-suites. Oh yeah, everybody's angling for that board eligible position at vice president or higher. So anyway, anything else before we quit the show?
No.
Other than to let you know that we will be streaming on Twitch. That's where we're gonna be tonight. Pretty much. What time do you want to start doing it?
I feel like 6:30 is a good time. That gives us time to make food.
Yeah, 6:30. Okay, 6:30 Pacific.
that.
That would be 9:30 Eastern, and we will be on Twitch. Our Twitch is the GameHounds. If you're not watching Twitch right now, but we will be back on at 6:30 playing Rainbow Six Extraction with Chris with Fighter Race.
Fighters.
Yep. And so, yeah, please join us. Also, a couple of things to remind you. One, we are Patreon funded. And more so now than ever, since we don't really have won't have an audio stream after today. This right here, that the way that we happen to be on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch is because of you. Please support us. Patreon.com/GameHounds. We don't ask for much. $1 a month is all we ask. We do at least 4 shows a month, generally speaking. Which means it comes out to 25 cents a podcast. So it doesn't take much. And it means a lot. It keeps us going so that we can deal with when Spreaker throws us a curveball and wants to charge us $10,000. We do have the option to be able to move somewhere else without having to worry about having to pay for it. So thank you to everyone who is a patron. We appreciate it. If you are not a patron, please subscribe to us. Patreon.com/GameHounds. You guys are awesome. All of you patrons. So appreciate it. If it weren't for the fact that we had a little bit of money in the bank, this would have been a much more difficult month as far as trying to figure out what to do with our audio show. So yeah, I guess that's it. Let's close this. Oh, I guess it shut down on me again. Did we hit 3 hours? Yeah. Fucking
Did we?
Spreaker.
No, we've been live for 2 hours and 34 minutes.
Yeah, on StreamYard, the Spreaker shut us down again.
Oh, we started earlier on Spreaker?
I guess, did it not start? It says it has no hours.
I didn't think that we started that much earlier on
No,
Spreaker.
I
thought the audio show started after the
it did.
video.
It did.
So it's been less than 3 hours.
I am so done with these people. So done with these people. Truly. All right, so let's close this out. You have been listening. I guess we're not closing this out. I guess we can just shut down because we are not recording on Spreaker.
Andy Pandy also asked if there's a one-off payment.
Hey, Andy Benny.
There's a system for that.
Can you do one-off payments? I will
Just
let you know
send a check to
next week.
Edie.
I don't think that you can do a one-off payment. I will
Not on
research that
Patreon, at
for you.
least.
Not on Patreon. Patreon, you have to be like a subscriber. But
Mhm.
I will formulate a system for you to do one-off payments if you would like. Yeah, I will make that happen. It might be a Vimeo or not Vimeo. Maybe something. We'll figure out something so that we can do a one-off payment as a donation for you and for me. Thank you for that. So, if you have anything else, Nick?
No.
All right. So, well, I don't have to close it out. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you again for joining us. Don't forget our website, gamehounds.net is the website. Gamehounds@gmail.com is our email. We do record this show live every Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, usually last few weeks, followed very shortly, right around 6 to 6:30 of actually doing some gaming on Twitch. So you can find us on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Twitch. On Facebook and Twitch, we are the GameHounds, THE GameHounds, all strung together. On YouTube, we are GameHounds Vids. That's VIDS as in videos. Feel free to join us at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern next Sunday and every Sunday after that, with very few exceptions. Have a great night, everyone. Have a good weekend. Please stay safe. If you are not vaccinated, please, please, please be vaccinated. If you're not boosted, make sure you go out and get that booster. The virus is real. Have a good week, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.